Who's the person you hate the most? If their face just popped into your mind, pause for a moment. Think about them. Are they selfish? Do they lie? Do they ignore you, make you feel uneasy without a clear reason? Here's something counterintuitive. Carl Jung believed that the people we despise most are often mirrors reflecting parts of ourselves we refuse to see. What if that's true? The pain you keep hitting in your relationships, the way similar people keep hurting you, how you vow to avoid the same mistakes, and yet find yourself back at the same crossroads again and again. What if it isn't bad luck? That's something inside you that you haven't yet understood. We often chalk it up to the wrong people showing up, bad timing, or just unlucky circumstances. But when the same wounds keep reopening, it's no longer just coincidence. Jung taught that much of our suffering isn't caused by what happens around us, but by what's hiding inside, beneath our awareness. At the center of this hidden part of ourselves is what he called the shadow. When most people hear shadow, they think of darkness, evil, or a hidden dark side. But Jung's shadow isn't just bad traits. It's all the parts of ourselves we can't or won't accept. It could be anger, jealousy, fear, or vulnerability. Sometimes even strengths like courage, passion, or creativity get buried because we learned early on to hide what made us too much or not enough just to be accepted. Be good. Don't lose your temper. Don't be jealous. Don't show weakness. Don't make mistakes. Don't be a burden. Little by little, we chopped off pieces of ourselves. Then we shoved the parts our family, society, or we ourselves found shameful deep into the unseen corners of our minds. But here's the catch. The feelings we deny don't die. The desires we suppress don't disappear. The wounds ignored don't heal. They retreat into our unconscious and start running the show in ways we don't immediately recognize. Sudden outbursts of anger, unexplained anxiety, repeated relationship troubles, or a crushing sense of emptiness. Why do you shrink around certain people? Why can a single comment crush you? Why does someone's attitude irritate you beyond reason while someone else draws you in? We often call this personality, preference, or even fate, but sometimes it's the shadow at play. The shadow shows up most clearly in our relationships. Maybe there's someone you can't stand, not because they've done anything particularly awful, but because something about them rubs you the wrong way. Their tone, their posture, their very presence unsettles you. Usually, we blame them. They're the problem. But Jung called this phenomenon projection. Projection is when we assign to others the qualities we refuse to accept in ourselves. If you can't admit your own anger, you may overreact to others' aggression. If you deny your own arrogance, you might rage at someone's perceived arrogance. If you're ashamed of your desires, you might harshly judge those who express theirs freely. That doesn't mean you're always to blame. Sometimes people are genuinely rude or hurtful. Sometimes toxic relationships are toxic for real reasons. The key question is, why do you react so strongly? Why does this situation shake you so deeply? Why does the same old feeling resurface again and again? Once you start asking these questions, your focus shifts from blame to inquiry, and in that moment, the door to your unconscious begins to crack open. When we ignore our shadow, the first signs are emotional eruptions. We get deeply hurt by offhand remarks. We feel abandoned by silence. Anger flares over trivial things, or sudden waves of sadness hit without warning. We start doubting ourselves. Are we too sensitive? Should we just tough it out? Am I the one who's broken? But emotions aren't obstacles. They're messages, especially the feelings that keep knocking at your door again and again. Anger may signal a boundary has been violated. Sadness might be the voice of loss left unheard. Jealousy can reveal long-hidden desires you're afraid to admit. Anxiety may be the inner child still waiting to feel safe. Emotions aren't the enemy. We just haven't learned their language. We tend to avoid sadness, suppress anxiety, and shame anger. But repression doesn't solve anything. It's just smoke. Emotions don't vanish. They accumulate, and eventually they come back bigger, exploding, destroying relationships, dragging you into numbness or deep despair. So when feelings rise, the first move isn't to fight or throw them out, it's to observe them. Ask yourself, why am I shaken now? What part of me is asking for help? What is this feeling trying to tell me? This simple question can turn your shadow from an enemy into your teacher. A lot of us want a life free from pain. No anxiety, no wounds, no failures, no loneliness. But such a life doesn't exist. If anything, Suffering pulls us back to ourselves. Think about it. When did your most meaningful changes begin? Was it during peaceful times, or when you finally hit rock bottom? Broken relationships, loss, frustration, loneliness, deep confusion. These moments break us open and make us ask tough questions. Who am I? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? What am I afraid of? What kind of life do I really want? Jung called this process individuation, not becoming what society wants from you or putting on a better mask for others, but the journey of becoming your true self. And to do that, you first need to face what you've hidden. You can't be whole if you only welcome the light. When you understand your darkness, you grow wider, deeper as a person. Your shadow isn't a monster that needs to be destroyed. It's a missing piece waiting to be integrated. Owning your anger doesn't make you destructive. Owning your jealousy doesn't make you bad. Owning your fears doesn't make you weak. Not acknowledging these feelings is what puts you at risk. Unacknowledged emotions leak into your tone, your choices, your relationship patterns. But emotions you see clearly can no longer secretly control you. That's where real change begins. Facing your shadow starts with observation. Watch for moments when strong feelings bubble up, when a comment cuts deep, when you're suddenly angry for no clear reason, when jealousy creeps in, when you find yourself shrinking around someone. Don't brush these moments aside. Pause and ask yourself, why did I react like this? Where did this feeling come from? What past memory does this remind me of? The next step is honesty. We don't just lie to others, we lie most often to ourselves. We pretend we're fine when we're not. We act strong when we're scared. We hide pain behind a blank face. We wear solitude like armor against loneliness. Sometimes all it takes is a simple truth. I'm hurt. I'm scared. I'm lonely. I want to be seen. I'm angry. This kind of honesty doesn't break you. It brings you back to you. Admitted feelings don't have to hide anymore or run your life from behind the scenes. The third step is writing it down. Each day, jot down your strongest emotions. Who shook you? What words stuck? When did you feel small? What scared or shamed you? Putting it into words takes vague feelings and gives them form. When something has form, it can be understood. Once understood, it stops being a monster. It becomes insight. Of course, meeting your shadow doesn't mean you'll be perfect. Anger won't vanish. Anxiety won't disappear. You won't become unshakable overnight. But here's the difference. Before, your emotions dragged you around. Now you can face them. Before, you called your pain fate. Now you see it as a pattern to explore. Before, you blamed only others. Now you turn the gaze inward too. That difference is huge, because what we become aware of no longer controls us from the shadows. Maybe you've lived your whole life scared of your dark side. Maybe you believed you had to erase it to be a better, brighter, tougher person. But what if that darkness isn't your enemy? What if instead of destroying you, it's waiting to make you whole? Your shadow might be the truth you've hidden even from yourself, and when you meet that truth, for the first time you start to meet yourself. In the end, maybe what we've been searching for all along isn't perfection, not more success, more approval, or flawless relationships. Maybe deep down, what we really want is to make peace with who we truly are. So the next time a wave of strong emotion hits, don't push it away right away.